Coach Jans has joined us downstairs. Coach, can you hear us okay down there?
I can hear you just fine.
All righty. So we were talking about it just a moment ago. Your guys were right there first 10 minutes of the game. Looked like things were going well. Then A&M hits that 13-2 run to kind of grab control of the game. Sometimes in a game like this, playing against a team like that, one little stretch, can that be what the undoing is?
Yeah, I mean, their style of play is one that they're very streaky that way. You know, they're never, out of games because of high possessions, because of the pressing, because of the play fast. And then at the same time, sometimes you can get back into games that way. But, yeah, I mean, I'll have to look at the tape to remember that far back. But just felt like we couldn't get to halftime quick enough and try to regroup. Definitely the game started slipping away from us there the last 5-6 minutes of the first half.
You know, Coach, early in the game, it looked like you were substituting maybe a little more liberally than you normally do. Was that just to give other guys a chance, or was that because you're trying to match up with the amount of people that A&M tries to play?
Yeah, I felt like after the last game we had played 8 guys and had some guys that I thought were doing a good job in practice of sticking with it, of having a great mindset and approach, and going on the road to play this style of play with a team that plays so many guys, and they just really start rotating, people in and out. That our best chance was to try to play a real liberal subbing pattern, at least for the first half, to see where we were at and who played well, and adjust if needed to the second half when we had a bunch of guys that didn't have 17, 18 minutes under their belt. Unfortunately, we were within striking distance, obviously, at halftime, and even in the first 10, 15 minutes. But as the game got under 5-6 minutes, it just didn't look like we were going to have the fight to get back into this one.
Well, you look at the score. Of course, you try to find some positive things about a game, but what did you find out tonight about King Grace and Brandon Walker and going forward with those two?
I mean, Brandon has had some nice spots for us, and for me personally, I just feel like he needs to be in the rotation, all the time. He's just been very productive when he's in the game, and yes, he's undersized, but he's a smart player. He knows what we're trying to do, and then King was one of the guys who I talked about earlier that I felt going the last few games that he had been sticking with it in practice and having a good work ethic and a good attitude, and then coincidentally playing this game was a great time to try to get him more minutes. And like what we always talk about, when you get your opportunity, be ready, be prepared, and make the most of it. Certainly we're trying to win the game, but for individuals to earn more trust, earn more minutes, and King, I thought, did that. I thought he looked as comfortable as I've seen him on the court, to be honest, all year long, which is a really good sign for him moving forward.
You talked about in the pregame show attacking their press and knowing when to attack, knowing when to bring it out, run some clock, take a little time off. How did you feel about the execution of your game plan tonight?
It was okay. I thought we did an okay job against their press, and that's the thing about them is the prep is just different than any other team that we've played or will play the rest of the year, and it's just a lot. And if you don't spend the time to get organized and worry about the press-o on the made shot, the missed shot, the made free throw, the missed free throw, it's just unique that way. But I thought, like I said, for the most part, they were pretty assignment correct. Obviously we had some turnovers. We had 13 total, which is not what you want. You want a little bit lower than that, but against a team that pressures as much as they do, it's a manageable number for sure. And then when we did break it, again, for the most part, I thought they made decent decisions in terms of attacking, trying to get to the cup or create for someone else, or the numbers weren't there, it wasn't the right spacing, and kind of pull it back out and go into breakdown offense. So, for that part of what we were trying to do, I thought they were pretty good that way.
What's the toughest thing about trying to guard a guy like AG when he's got that kind of size and just is a relentless rebounder like he is?
Well, I mean, he's an older player. You know, he's been in college basketball for 7 years, so he's picked up a lot of nuances, and you know, he knows the game inside and out, and he knows how he needs to play it. You know, as an undersized five-man, he plays bigger than he is. I don't know what his length is or his reach is, but I'd imagine it's much bigger than his height because of his arm length and just playing bigger than he is, and he just really understands angles and shot fakes and, you know, playing how taking what the defense gives you. And, you know, they got us out right out of the chute there when they ran a play that they haven't ran, at least from our film study all year long, and they expected us to trap it, and we did, and then they got the three to start the game, and that caused us to, you know, start going back and forth and how we were going to defend him in terms of doubling him or not. And again, he's a very veteran player, and he's seen it all by this point. He's played in a lot of programs at a lot of levels, and he's certainly learned and grown. And you know, he really, you know, got it on the floor tonight. I thought, you know, he was a key part to them winning the game.
You mentioned you had some guys play tonight who had stuck with it, kept after it, and I know when you're going through a tough stretch, that's all you can do as a team. So what's your message to your guys just to make sure that they don't get too low going through a tough stretch with a lot of basketball left to play?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a challenge. And what I just talked about with them is that I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to try to do the best job that I can for them individually, and then certainly as a team to put them in the best position to win the next game. And just like we've done since we've arrived, and my promise to them is I'm not going to get discouraged by it. I'm going to, you know, keep my nose to the grindstone and keep trying to tinker with this and that. And that I thought going into the game they had put in really good work. I really felt like, you know, you and I talked before the game that their focus was good and their practice was good, even after a really, really tough week at home. And I didn't know how they'd be, you know, heading into a 2-day practice session before playing on the road. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. I mean, I say this a lot. I mean, I get it. The bottom line is winning and losing, and I understand that more than anybody, and that's just the business that we're in. But, you know, from my perspective and my chair, that's what I told them, and that the expectation is that it would be the same for them on an individual basis and certainly as a program.
Coach, thank you for the time.
Appreciate it, Hill State.